Hello, thank you for clicking on this video. I just wanted to start out by saying thank you so much for the amazing reception on my last video. If I'm being completely honest, I wasn't expecting this to get many views or to reach many people, so the fact that so many of you saw it in the first place and enjoyed it makes me really happy. I am so glad to see people appreciating my art, and I also really appreciate the feedback. I got some great feedback in my last post for how I can improve, little notes, some suggestions. So I'm hoping in this video I will apply those critiques in a meaningful manner, and I hope you enjoy the video. Without further ado, let's get started. The first character I wanted to tackle today actually just got a release, so I guess she's not that niche. But I still wanted to redesign her anyway because I think there were a few missed opportunities. Just a quick background, if you didn't know, CA Cupid was actually one of the G1 characters that got transferred, I guess, into Ever After High. So she technically has two designs, but for this purpose of redesigning the Monster High character, I will be mainly just looking at her Monster High design. So the first thing I really wanted to include in this design was heart-shaped pigtails. I just thought that idea would be so cute, but as I was drawing it out, I was thinking about the logistics of getting the hair to stay like that if she were a real doll. And you know, hair isn't like anime physics, we can't always have these fun designs. So that brought me to this really great creator on TikTok. She does a lot of fun hairstyles with her afro puffs, and I saw this one where she did stars, and I thought, if you can do stars, why not do little hearts? That would be so cute. So that made me take this character in a different direction. I was thinking making her have a more African ethnicity, but with some Greek or Roman-esque fashion choices. I thought it would be apropos to give her a little sweetheart neckline to her dress. It just fits. So as I moved on to the refined sketch, I started considering the colors and how that would affect her appearance and her character. One thing that I feel that was a huge staple of Cupid was her skin tone in the original. She had like a very pale, basically white skin tone. And I was thinking, if I took that away, maybe it would be less recognizable as her. So I started thinking about how I could implement her African ethnicity while also maintaining the paler skin tone. And then I got the idea, what if she's just an albino African person? I remembered seeing an albino person kinda in the Rainbow High doll Delilah Fields. I thought that was really pretty, where she has the really fair hair and the white eyelashes. I really think that's cool, and I wish we could see more of the diversity in dolls, so I thought this could be a great addition to the character lineup. So I started out with a more fantasy-esque vibe to her hair and skin tone, but after talking to some of my friends, they told me that it's more common for African people who are albino to have a more yellowish tone to their hair and to have less of a pink hue to their skin tone, a little bit more yellowish, so I changed that up later, as you can probably see. While designing her clothes, I made sure to keep in mind the more gothic aspect of Monster High. Her original design had a lot of pink and black and white, and a little bit of gray too, and I wanted to keep that. I really like the edginess of G1 Monster High, so I kept the colors pretty dark, except for the pops of light pink. I also felt it was important to keep her little black gradient on her limbs, like her legs and her arms, and that little fun design that she has, but make it a little less crazy, because I feel like it would compete with everything else. I just think that that aspect of her character is really iconic. Everyone knows about her, like, black feet and hands that gradients into the white or the paler skin tone. I added a few more touch-ups to the shoes and to her bow, and I'm quite happy with how she turned out. I think she is a really unique, really fun take on Cupid. I understand my direction may have been a bit different from what you were expecting, so I understand if you aren't a fan of this design. I personally am very proud of it, but we don't all have the same tastes, and I get that. My second redesign for this video is Gigi Grant. This was actually a request from a commenter, but I really like this character actually. I owned the doll from G1. I always was very impressed on how they were able to translate the 2D design into a 3D doll. They put these cool, like, little balls in her hair, kind of like the water bottle trick that you would do on Crazy Hair Day, but I always thought that was really cool. Whoever thought of that, you get a kiss on the lips. That is amazing. Anyways, moving on. I just really wanted to celebrate the heritage of this character as well. You probably have noticed I do that a lot with my characters, but I feel like, especially for Monster High, diversity and celebrating who you are and where you come from is such an important message. I feel like this just makes sense to highlight.
Be yourself. Be unique. Be a monster.
Sorry. Alright, so let's get started. I first put down a little sassy pose. She's holding her lamp in this one. I really wanted to focus on making sure her clothing was more accurate to Middle Eastern fashion. So you can probably see I added a few different accessories, a little headpiece, big earrings, a little necklace. I wanted to include a lot of gold because it just looks good with the blues and pinks. I kept her hair very similar to the original. I just made it more downturned because I feel like she would have longer hair, and having longer hair is not a good combo with that top knot style. I gave her some cool flared pants with a little slit, but still covered. I also gave her a more ethnically accurate nose. It's kind of a small detail, but I feel like that's still important to mention. So I will admit, I went a little crazy with the accessories and smaller details, but I don't really plan on making this one into a physical doll, so I think it's fine, honestly. It's just eye candy at this point. Another thing I did was keep the shoes pretty similar. I really like those shoes. I don't know what it is. I love the toe, the curly toe thing. It's like a slipper, but also like high fashion heel. I love that. So moving on to color, I kept her color scheme basically the same as the original. I did add a little bit of purple in there because like blue and pink, if you didn't know, like mixed together makes like sort of like violet sometimes, most of the time. But I wanted to give her hair a little bit of an ombre. I know that the pink and yellowish gold are mixed in together in the original, and I really like that look. It looks like a sunset, so I kept that. I made the end more gold and the top more pink. Kept her pink skin tone, kept her eyes basically the same. I did make them a little bit more hazel, like there's a little bit of brown in the green. I made her top sparkly and split, just like her original, but with the different design. Gave her the nice flared pants with a cool design at the bottom, as well as some like hip jewelry, like waist beads and all that. I'll be honest, I am not a huge fan of prop design. I mean, I do it. I don't love it, but I do it. So her lamp is pretty simple. I am quite happy with how this design turned out as well. She's pretty cute, actually. She's giving me a little bit of like Esmeralda vibes from like Hunchback in Notre Dame, but I like her. Let me know if you have any notes though. Next up we have Viperine Gorgon, Or Gorgon? I don't know. Anyway, while I didn't get any requests for her specifically, I just kind of wanted to do a design for her, basically out of my own interest. I actually drew her a few years ago. Here's a little shot of what my art used to look like. Oh boy. Don't give up. That is my PSA for the day. Don't give up. Your art will get better. Anyways, back to the subject on hand. I wanted to do Viperine for multiple reasons, but I really liked that her character is a makeup artist. I don't really see a whole lot of characters who are makeup artists, and as a person who does makeup for fun, I thought it was cool to see. I'm also just a fan of her like pastel color palette. Kind of reminds me of like Fluttershy from My Little Pony. I played with a few Greco-Roman hairstyles. You can see I was struggling a bit. I couldn't really decide on what to do to make sure her snakes were visible and also make it visually interesting and different, but I think I figured something out in the end. Another decision I made was to give her more of like a hippie vibe. I wanted to make sure that her sunglasses were part of her design, and whenever I was looking at outfits with sunglasses, I kept stumbling across like a boho, kind of hippie chic, and I thought that was pretty cute, and I could fit that into her design as well. I kept her shoe design pretty similar this time. I just made them into more of like ankle boots since she's wearing a long skirt now. I gave her a higher bridge on her nose and a little bit more of a downturn shape as well. I just thought that was more ethnically accurate if she is a Greek or Roman-esque character. One thing I really loved that I forgot to mention on Gigi, but I noticed about the G1 doll was that the sculpting on this doll was amazing. I actually owned her as well. I loved how they made the whole body basically scaly and kind of just really accurate to like a snake, but if they were a human, like anthropomorphic snake, I don't know. It Amazing job by the sculptors. That's all I've got to say. Color-wise, I kept her pretty accurate to the original design. I really love the pink and the yellow skin tone. Again, gives me Fluttershy vibes. I did want to keep a lot of the blue accents though. I think that looks great together. One thing that I noticed though about the original design is that it's very pattern heavy in the clothing, and I didn't want to completely like let go of that. So I did want to maintain some patterns, so I did do a little bit of surface design for this. I made a pattern for her shirt originally, but then I ended up thinking it was too busy on the top, so I moved that pattern down to the skirt, and then I used that same pattern and just changed the color a bit to make it softer and put it back on the shirt. Back and forth. I didn't go too over the top with this character, I just kind of kept it simple and practical. I'm actually really happy with how her outfit turned out in this. Her first outfit was honestly giving like kindergarten teacher to me, at least. I don't know. I feel like this is more modern, more fashionable. So this is my final design. I did end up changing the boots to sandals, but that's the only major change before I end this segment. So last video I ended right about here. I did 3 designs, but since you guys liked last video so much, I made one more design for this video. You can click off if you're bored, but I thought I should mention the last character is Rebecca Steam. This is yet again a commenter's suggestion, but I have an interest in this character nonetheless. I feel like her concept is really cool, and I've always wanted to draw her. I've never drawn her before in any way, shape, or form, so I thought this could be fun. I've always had headcanoned Rebecca as Indian or some sort of Southeast Asian. I don't know if that's just me being biased, but I think it really could be cool to see someone from that ethnic group represented in Monster High. While designing Rebecca, I did keep in mind her nationality versus ethnicity. She does have a British accent in the show, and I was thinking maybe she's just a Southeast Asian girl who grew up in England or something, which I'm cool with that. That's fun. So while designing her fashion, I was inspired a lot by steampunk or gothic steampunk. That fashion style just seems like something Rebecca would wear. As well as the steampunk influence, I also was referencing some Lolita outfits as well. I think that silhouette of the poofy skirt would look really cute on her. I also really liked the kind of like underskirt petticoat cage thing going on with the original, so I kept that. Um, I gave her a little corset type thing, light blue blouse, and I kept her boots practically the same. I just simplified them a little bit more. But generally, Rebecca is like the one that I had the least gripes with and the least edits to make. So that's why I put her at the end, anyways. But yeah. Her color scheme is basically the same as it was in G1. I didn't really see a reason to change it, honestly. It looked nice. I mean, it's one of those things where I'm like, if it's not broken, don't try and fix it. In the end, I really tried to lean into the Lolita gothic steampunk vibe of her outfit. I like how she turned out. In hindsight, though, there are a few things that I would have changed, but I wanted to get this video out as soon as possible for you guys, and it also just fits with my schedule. I'm nearing midterms, and I need to focus on that. So, here is my final redesign for Rebecca Steam. So I promise now, this is the real end of the video. No more secret designs that I'm gonna throw on you, okay? I just wanted to say thank you so much for the positive feedback that I got at the first video. I'm hoping everyone really likes this one as well. I really tried to take your feedback and implement it into my video to make it better, to make it a more enjoyable viewing experience. I'll keep trying to do that as well, so if you think of anything else that you'd like to see from me or any other suggestions, feel free to leave it in the comments below. I'll definitely take a look. Thank you for watching.